Hello, and welcome to a Grim Oak Press unboxing. Hooray! This, my friends, is Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence, the 10th anniversary edition, as published by Grim Oak Press. Beautiful bubble wrap, as always, courtesy of Sean Speakman and Becky Lawson over at Grim Oak Press. They are some of the best in the business. Some of the best customer support as well. Anyways, they have published several Mark Lawrence omnibuses. They had the Red Queen trilogy, and they did have the Broken Empire, of which this is the first title. But now, in honor of the 10th anniversary of the Broken Empire, of the first title of the Broken Empire, Prince of Thorns, they are giving the title its own standalone treatment. So there we go. Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence, Grim Oak Press. No dinged corners, which is awesome. And it says Prince of Thorns on the spine as well. So, the original Broken Empire omnibus was cloth-bound. It was limited to 1,000 copies. It's now sold out. It's one of the earliest Grim Oak titles. It was like one of the first ones along... Unfettered was the first one, but then they did, Dark Thorn... they did Peter Rillian's The Unremembered, which is still available. That's been on sale for several years. So you can go buy one of those. But the Broken Empire Omnibus was early and did sell out. But copies are still available of the 10th anniversary edition. So, as I said, the original Omnibus was cloth-bound, whereas this one, the Broken Empire, is in bonded leather, which is very nice, very fancy. And as you can see, the cover of it matches the slipcase wonderfully, especially with the stamping there. I know some people aren't really fans of bonded leather because it's, not fancy. But I like it. It's fancy enough. It's fancier than cloth. Kind of plain black end papers, but that's totally fine. Artwork by Jason Chan. Oh, okay. So there's actually the alternates. Back when they first announced the title, back during the preliminary stages, Sean Speakman had said, hey, we got two different covers, one with Jorg looking down, one looking up. Which do you prefer? So they ended up with the looking down for the cover, but they want the looking up for the signature page. That's pretty cool. It is signed by Mark Lawrence and Jason Chan. Jason Chan did the artwork for the original trilogy, the original publication, and then the omnibus. And then here he is again for the 10th anniversary, doing more artwork. I'm number 716, which matches my omnibus and my Shannara titles. And we've got a nice little cartography map of the Broken Empire, including Ancraft, which is where Jorg is from. So the actual story, oh, there we go. That was actually the cover of the omnibus. Very cool. It's about Jorg Ancraft, 9-year-old prince. Well, he's not nine when the novel takes place. But when he was 9, he witnessed the murder of his mother and his brother. But he survived by being stuck in a thorny briar patch. Hence the thorns. We got a rib marker as well. Very nice. So then, that scars him both physically and emotionally. He's got some serious PTSD. And he goes on the road with his road brothers, a bunch of marauding thieves and thugs. And now he's returning home to claim a throne. That is rightfully his. His father is still kind of on the throne in Ancraft, but he's coming to say hi to dear old dad. Look at that artwork, though. Wow. Both thematically and it's very fitting if you read the novel. But anyways, he's returning home, and it is a very, very dark story. If you're thinking, oh, it's a little teenage, he's like 14 when the novel takes place, 15 maybe. You're like, oh, it's nothing crazy. It's just a little teenager coming home. No, it's dark. Like, this is putting the dark in grimdark. It starts off like just absolutely brutal. Like, read the first chapter. If it's too brutal for you, just don't continue on. But yeah, This is the first book in the Broken Empire trilogy. You got book 1, which is Prince of Thorns. Book 2 is King of Thorns. Book 3 is Emperor of Thorns. Not gonna lie, I mean I love all 3 books, but I'm not gonna lie. The first one is actually the weakest of the 3, in my opinion. It's not a bad book. It's just that it introduces the characters, but doesn't really like flesh them out. You don't really get too much depth to Jorg, Prince Jorg of Ancraft, until the second title, and yeah, it's a dark book, but it's a very enjoyable book. So I mean, if you're a fan of George R. R. Martin, kind of brutality and just grim nature, you'll enjoy this series. Or Joe Abercrombie is another good one if you're not too familiar with grimdark as a kind of a genre, as a subgenre of fantasy. But copies of this 10th anniversary edition are still available. It's a little bit on the pricier side compared to other editions. If you're in the UK, there is actually... I'm going to fight with this ribbon marker real quick. Just going to put that right in there. If you're in the UK, Broken Binding has their own edition of the 10th anniversary edition. It's going to be just cloth bound, but it has like sprayed edges. So this is a little oversized compared to what you might get from the Broken Binding, but it could save you on shipping if you're in the UK, or if you're in the US and you want to see a cool, sprayed edges. Might still be a little cheaper than this, even with. I know the title itself is much cheaper because it's not as fancy of a volume as the Grimoak version. But you'll have to pay international shipping, but it'll still be cheaper than this title might be. So that's available at the Broken Binding. Copies of this edition are still available over at Grimoak Press. Link in the description below. It's really cool to see, Jason Chan do some more artwork for Mark Lawrence. Really hoping that, in the coming years, we'll see the follow-ups and we'll see the standalone editions of books 2 and 3, King of Thorns and Emperor of Thorns, which are my favorites of the trilogy. Like I said, this one's not bad. It's just compared to books 2 and 3, this is the weakest of the 3. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Becky and Sean, for a wonderful pack job as always. And just pre-order my copy of The Power That Preserves, the 3rd in the Thomas Covenant series. So I am all on board for that. And just a word of note, if you do order from Grimoak Press, because there's been discussion online about it, the slipcases are optional. And if you're pre-ordering books, make sure you pre-order with the slipcase, because they base their production of slipcases based on the number of slipcase pre-orders they get. So if you're going to buy older titles, you might be able to buy a slipcase, but it is not guaranteed. They might not have enough copies for. They're certainly, this is based on 750 books. They're not going to have 750 slipcases for it, but they do have some extras for those who did not pre-order. But some of them, like Darkness at Sethanon, which is the 3rd of the Feist series coming out, they're all sold out already, but there's a wait list for the extra copies. Anyways, that's just a little slipcase FYI for you if you're into slipcases like I am. So please subscribe to the channel and please support Grimoak Press, and we will see you around next time.